Hi there. I tried to do that without me and you got a few of my fingers in there. Anyway, this is the first in our little series for beginner baby boomer yoga. And so this one is going to be a short segment on forward bends. One thing about forward bends is, depending on your age and what kind of shape you're in, if you know that you have any bone deterioration, osteoporosis specifically, be really careful with your forward bends. Do not push them, but do them. And so this is the direction in yoga that generally, if you're going to cause some problem, a fracture in the bone, is the forward bend. Though coming in and out of poses quickly can happen. I know it happened to a woman who was doing a camel pose, which is a more advanced back bend. And she had done a lot of yoga intermittently. So that's the other thing I want to talk about before I show these. If you're a rote beginner, I'm going to address that. If you're someone who has done yoga before, but don't do it very often, please do not assume that you can just do the things that you've done before. Our bodies change. And that's not a bad thing. It's just working with what you've got. So let's talk a little bit about what forward bends are. Forward bends are a way to bring us more inside ourselves. They are cooling and they are calming. I just saw a little thumb go up, which is good. So we live in a very stressful time. So besides having our animals to de-stress us, if you don't have animals, you've got forward bends. I want to talk a little bit about forward bends. They basically start in the hips. So the first thing I want to show you is something I call ragdoll. I like to do this a lot in classes I teach just to warm up the joints. You're going to see me in totality in a moment. So I'm going to bend my knees. Well, you don't see my feet, but my feet are on the floor and parallel. A lot of people, when I start classes, somehow don't want to bend their knees. They just want to go into straight legs. And everyone, I think, thinks in forward bends about straightening the legs. However, if you have tight hamstrings, tight calves, and tight hips, your back is really going to round. Notice how my back is not rounding so much. So as you breathe yoga breath through the nose, and over time, because it takes time, forward bends, and patience, they give us patience. Over time, as your legs straighten, you may find that your back rounds as you work on straightening the legs. So if the back rounds, just know that that's what you're getting. And a lot of us do not want to round our back a lot more. We don't need to. We do it too much, especially as you get older with gravity. So I suggest this. The armpits are near the shoulders. We're letting our head go, which is really nice for the neck. And if it feels odd to have your head down here for too long, don't do it. But on the other hand, it brings a lot of nice blood to flush out the brain and very nice for the complexion. So our yoga breath is through the nose, and we're going to come up now with an inhale. Before we come up, let's just do a little bit of movement side to side and just feel the movement right where the legs meet the body, because that's the forward bend principle. Hinging from the hips, like the hinge on a door. Okay, keeping knees bent, engage your belly, and inhale, come on up. And exhale. Now we're going to take our forward bends to the floor. And we do a lot of forward bends on the floor, so I'm not going to do all the different directions and forward bends. This is just an intro. You are super welcome to send me any questions or tell me anything else you'd like to see me explaining, because that's how this series was born. Someone did that, and I really appreciate that. So I know what I can share with you from all my years of doing this and still studying this. Okay, so notice I have a towel here. I have a towel here. I have a yoga strap. I have a yoga block, and I have a chair. So what I'm going to show you, and I'm sitting on a meditation cushion. So this is one principle in forward bends, is that you want to be able to bend forward. And so for some people, let me take this away, and that wouldn't be me, but I will show you those people in my body to the best of my ability. Their pelvis doesn't tilt from the hips. It doesn't do this. So if you find yourself going into forward bend like this, and there is no movement here, then I recommend that you elevate yourself. Well, I'll use the towel because that's what it's for. I folded up this towel. It might not even be enough. I might need a couple of towels. And I come forward. You can also do that sitting on a block. You can also do that on a meditation cushion or bolster. Now, the other thing is using a strap. You don't have to use a strap, by the way, but some people do like to pull. If you're going to pull, what I'm going to recommend is, it doesn't matter how far you get. Feel the hinge from the hips. think of keeping your back as straight as you can. Do not lead with your chin. You see a lot of people doing that. In yoga, we like to think of a line of energy from the top of the head to the bottom of the spine. And also, you're just not doing good things for jamming your neck like that, right? So you get the energy going along your spine, you're breathing through the nose. Now, I'm practiced at this, so I can get further and I don't need the towel. That will come with time. And then if you don't have a strap, that's why I grabbed my little cat towel. You can use any size towel that works for you. As you come forward, you want to pull the shoulders down and back. You see a lot of people doing this, and that isn't really going to help stretch your back and lengthen your spine. It is not about how far you get. It's about moving your body and reaping the benefit of your individuality. Okay, I'm going to show one more quick seated forward bend because I don't want to make these segments too long. This is head to knee pose. Now I'm going to come off my towel, which you might need your towel, and my knee goes down. But if your knee doesn't go down, it's up here. It's a good time to grab a block, or if you don't have a block, take your towel or a book and put it outside the thigh like so, so that you don't strain your knee as you come forward. As you come forward, you want to bring that knee with you if it moves at all. Do not push it out to the side. That will just strain right in here, and over time, you might have a repetitive stress strain. So I'm not going to hold on with a strap right now, and you can hold on wherever it works for you. It could be your calf shin, it could be your thigh. You want to come forward. A lot of times people think of using their arms to pull them forward, and you do, but not at the expense of making more tension in our shoulders. If you're like me, that's a tension area for me. I don't need more tension there. Okay, so those are our two forward bends seated. There's many more, legs open and such, and that you will evolve up to, or maybe work on in another class or with someone else, or maybe me on some other segments. I want to show one more standing with the chair. So I have a friend up in Maine that I taught. She might have been in her late 70s, early 80s. She's in her mid 80s now. And I taught her sun salutes, which we're going to work up to, but her down dog is in the chair. So you see how I'm holding onto the chair. I think I'm going to change the angle because when I was setting this up, it looked a little bit more clear. There we go. So depending on your flexibility, you might just come forward like so, but you might be able to get further down the chair. And with downward facing dog, which is a forward bend, you want to pull the tailbone back. You want to relax your head between your arms. And if you can, straighten your legs. Now, if you find your back rounding, bend the knees and pull that belly in so we don't collapse our lower back. We really want to stretch the back in forward bends, because what forward bends do is they stretch our back body and they strengthen the front. So you can deliberately squeeze your belly. If your legs are straight, you can deliberately squeeze up on the big muscles above the knee, pull up on the knee, pull up on your hamstring. It's always good to engage your muscles to support your joints and to make the muscles stronger. Okay, so there's a few forward bends for you, and I hope this will be beneficial, particular to people who are starting yoga. It is never too late to move. However, you want to be really careful. And as I mentioned in the intro, we have changes in our muscles, our bones, and our joints. Some of us have joint replacement. You can still do yoga. You just don't want to push it. And as with any time you do yoga, if you feel pain, don't go any further, pull back, right? So there you have it. And by the way, if you're not used to stretching, sometimes you do feel it. That is very different than tuning into the pain of injury. And that is another thing yoga does for us. As I was researching a little bit about different joint replacements in yoga, because a lot of people I know have had joint replacements, young and old. It basically said, if you feel pain, don't do it. But there's a difference between the pull of a stretch and the pain that might be hurting you. Okay, so that is what yoga helps you do. As it said in this one article I looked at, if you've had a replacement, it helps you get back in touch with your body to do yoga. So hope this helps whatever condition your body is in, whatever age you're at. And I look forward to moving on to the next segment. This is the forward bends. We're going to move next into back bends, then twisting, then inversions. Thanks very much for your time and have a great day. Namaste. Om Shanti.